Alright, so a lot of information about the new King of the Hill revival came out this week, including a brand new intro, and I am ready to talk about all of it. So in this video, we're going to be going over all of that, but first, we're going to be doing a quick breakdown on the new intro. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into it. Right off the bat, we hear that they kept the same iconic intro song, which is exactly how everybody would have wanted it. Could you imagine turning on King of the Hill and hearing any other theme song? If it ain't broke, don't break it. We also see that all of the guys are the same age they were in the original series. So this new intro starts off directly after the events of season 13 and goes 8 years into the future. Then Hank cracks open a good old Alamo beer and the scenes start to quickly change, just like in the original. Then we see Bobby recording Joseph skateboarding with his smartphone. Smartphones became popular pretty much right after the show ended, so this makes total sense. And then we see Connie walk up with what looks like a school project about global warming, and I imagine Bobby and Joseph were supposed to be helping her because they look kind of upset and they run off with Connie. After that, we see Min and Con walking by and they seem to be arguing with each other. And if you've seen the leaked storyboards, this makes total sense. They've apparently gotten a divorce and Con now lives with Bill, which I can only imagine how funny that's going to be. We then see Dee Dee pull up in a pretty nice looking convertible when an older Bobby walks out carrying a roughly 2-year-old GH. I assume he was babysitting. I'm also going to assume that Bobby and GH have a really good relationship because if you're familiar with the earlier seasons, it was pretty clear that Bobby really loved him. The next thing that happens is probably going to upset a lot of people, including myself. It seems that Nancy has gotten back together with John Redcorn. At least, that's what I would imagine. I don't see any other reason she'd be getting in his Jeep in the intro. Now listen, it sucks so bad that she's cheating on Dale again, but I feel like it's going to open the window for so many more good episodes. Like some of the earlier seasons had such funny episodes where Dale was like super oblivious to John Redcorn in his massages.
I know what you're here for.
Dale, this isn't how I wanted you to find out.
Quit screwing around with my mower.
You've got to be kidding.
I don't kid about my mower. Now get inside and start massaging my wife.
And honestly, I think maybe they're trying to recapture some of that magic the earlier seasons brought. Although I feel really bad for Dale, I feel like this just makes sense, at least for now. Maybe. Honestly, I don't know, I just keep going back and forth on my head whether I like it or not. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Something that does kind of worry me and something that I haven't heard anybody suggest is, what if Nancy isn't cheating on Dale and she left Dale? I mean, I cannot picture that happening, but like what if? And while on the topic of John Redcorn, I feel like I have to mention something I've been reading online. Like I'm sure a lot of you heard that King of the Hill did this little reunion panel at this year's ATX event in Dallas. Well, it wasn't an all cast members kind of panel. I believe it was only like 5 people there. Mike Judge, Greg Daniels, Lauren Tom, Toby Huss, and Pamela Adlon. And apparently Jonathan Joss, the voice of John Redcorn, was extremely upset he didn't get invited. A few people on Reddit claimed that he showed up unexpectedly to the panel, hijacked the mic, and said these things. And I quote, "They won't give me a mic to speak on my own show." And "My house burned down 3 months ago because I'm gay." And then he started to sing "There's a Hole in My Pocket Where My Money Should Go." Which honestly, if I got to hear that song live, that would be pretty cool. Dream come true right there.
There's a hole in my pocket where my money should go. There's a hole in my heart where you used to go. There's a hole.
Now, Jonathan Joss is pretty known for being extremely dramatic online, but if this really happened, that's actually insane. Alright, but anyway, sorry about that little side quest. Let's get back to the intro. After Redcorn and Nancy pull off, another year passes, and what happens next is actually the most insane, unpredictable thing I could ever imagine. So it starts with Hank just disappearing from the alley. That is until Peggy, Hank, and Bobby walk out with suitcases and go into a shuttle bus. Bobby goes and gives Connie a hug, and Joseph gives Bobby a huge hug as if he's saying goodbye. As the shuttle drives off, Boomhauer raises his beer, Dale tips his hat, and Bill starts to cry. And then they show Connie and Joseph walking away, of course very sad, but they don't walk together, they walk separately. That tells me either A, Bobby was the glue holding the friendship together, or B, I'm overthinking this whole thing and they were just sad Bobby left. It's definitely probably one of those options. Literally months go by and Bill is still crying, and then the biggest plot twist of all plot twists to ever happen happens. We learn the Hills aren't just going on some vacation, because a moving truck shows up, and yeah, who the hell is this guy? And now the rumor online is this is either Roger, you know, the character Chris Rock voiced in season 2, or, and what I believe is correct, this is a new character by the name of Muhammad. Now we know there's a new character named Muhammad because of the IMDb, so it would make a lot of sense that this is him. We see years go by, and not only has he taken Hank's house, he's also taken Hank's spot in the alley. So eventually we see Bill start to cough, which would indicate the pandemic has officially started. Bill runs off and we don't see him again for the remainder of the intro. I imagine since he's living with Con now, or better yet, Con is living with Bill, they're probably at Bill's quarantined. Quarantined. Am I saying that right? Quarantined? You know the word I'm trying to say. Quarantine. I think that's right. Okay, anyway. Then we see the guys wearing a mask and the social distancing starts. We see Dale as being Dale and wearing the chin diaper, which obviously makes total sense for Dale. And also, he's a complete chain smoker, so the mask would probably be down regardless.
Oh, hey, if you're gonna come any closer, would you mind wearing a, chin diaper? Oh, sorry.
And now we get something else major that happens. We see a woman and a child walk up, and Boomhauer walks away with them. So I'm guessing Boomhauer finally settled down. And I don't see how this could be Boomhauer's biological child, considering the child looks much older. Unless maybe he had one he didn't know about, like earlier on, which wouldn't be a huge shocker, but I'm guessing Boomhauer just wifed up somebody's mom, and this is probably his stepson. And now I've seen the ATX sneak peek, and I can tell you the kid is seen again with Bobby later on, so he's probably going to be a major part of the reboot. And now we're down to just Dale and who I'm going to call Muhammad in the alley, when an older looking Joseph runs up with a sign that reads, "Vote Gribble for mayor," which obviously implies Dale is running for mayor. But hear me out, what if it's Nancy? I mean, think about it. Wouldn't that make the most sense, like the local TV news celebrity Nancy running for mayor? I'm not saying I necessarily think it's her, but I definitely don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. I'm just trying to think outside the box. Now at first you would think Dale running for mayor would be like insane, but the more I think about it, the more it makes total sense. So after that, Dale runs off and we're down to just Muhammad. The seasons go by and it's just him out in the alley alone. The phone post that was in Hank's backyard is removed and Dale eventually comes back to put up a sign, and then Muhammad goes inside. A couple more years go by and a car pulls up that reads Trip on the side, which is obviously a play on Lyft. It drops off Peggy and Hank, but Bobby is noticeably absent. Hank then walks to the sign that was put in the yard years ago, walks it to the trash, just like he did the trash bag in the original intro. It zooms in and reads, "Created by Mike Judge and Greg Daniels." After he tosses the sign, Bobby runs up from off screen and goes to put his arm around his parents, just like Hank did in the original intro. And then we get that iconic zoom in to Hank's head that follows by the King of the Hill logo. And then we get a release date of August 4th. It brings a tear to my eye. Like, this entire intro is like 30 seconds long, but it's such an emotional roller coaster. But all right, let's talk about a few things. First, the description of the video. Now, the description of this video is huge. It gives us so much information on what the series is going to be about, and I'm going to read it to you right now. After years working a propane job in Saudi Arabia to earn their retirement nest egg, Hank and Peggy will return to a changed Arlen, Texas to reconnect with old friends Dale, Boomhauer, and Bill. Meanwhile, Bobby is living his dream as a chef in Dallas and enjoying his 20s with his former classmates Connie, Joseph, and Chain. Okay, now I know a lot of people are really confused by Hank moving to Saudi Arabia, I mean myself included, but I'm sure the show will explain everything and it'll all make total sense. I don't like those people online that are like, they don't know Hank. Hank would never do that. We don't know Hank better than the guy who created Hank. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it'll all make sense. And we gotta remember, he did this for Sweet Lady Propane. Well, I mean propane in his retirement money. And Hank cares about his career in propane more than just about anything else. And on another note, I read a rumor online, and this is obviously just a rumor, but it says that Shane owns the restaurant that Bobby's the chef at. I mean, that would make a lot of sense as to why Bobby would become friendly with his childhood bully. Like, he was so mean to Bobby, so when I read that in the description, I was also a little thrown off. But if he works for him or works with him or whatever it is, I mean, that would make a lot more sense. But moving on. Something else huge you may have noticed is you don't see Luann, Lucky, or their daughter Gracie in this entire intro, which bums me out big time. But I mean, I kinda get it, and I personally didn't really expect to see them in the reboot. I figured they'd written them off, saying they moved or something, or maybe Lucky slipped in some more PP and became a millionaire. I did think that there was high hopes for Gracie to be in the reboot, and maybe she will still be in the reboot. I mean, I guess we don't really know. The website Variety, they've been covering the ATX panel, and they did post something recently about Luann and Lucky. And the post says, the spirit of other late cast members, Brittany Murphy, Luann, and Tom Petty, Lucky, will also be honored. These characters acknowledged in ways that feel true to both fans and the show. I'm very glad they aren't going to just ignore the fact that these characters ever existed. Not that I ever thought they would do that, but you never know. Also, I think they did a fantastic job at aging up these characters, especially Bobby. I was most worried about him, but moi, chef's kiss. They did a great job. I also think they did a great job with Hank. The only issue I have with Hank is every time I look at him, I see the character Hal from the episode Not in My Back Ho. I mean, look at how similar these guys look. And also a few characters seem to have aged a little bit more than the rest. But hey, sometimes life hits you hard. But overall, I couldn't be happier with how the character designs look. And I do wonder how they'll incorporate this new guy into the show. Like, I couldn't imagine him being in like half the intro and then not being a huge part of the reboot. My guesses are either A, he's someone Hank trusted to rent a house to while he was gone for all those years, or B, possibly he house swapped with someone from Saudi Arabia. Like, I couldn't picture Hank allowing a stranger to live in his home, but I also couldn't picture Hank moving to Saudi Arabia, so honestly, anything goes in this new reboot. Let's go back to John Redcorn for a minute. His voice actor, Jonathan Joss, did an Instagram Live the day after the ATX event, and he said a couple interesting things about the reboot. I'll show the clip here.
So, last night was the kickoff for King of the Hill. So, the fans get to revisit King of the Hill again, which I think is an amazing thing, because it's a great show. 10 years in the future, I did 4 episodes so far. And I kind of like where John Redcorn kind of going, you know? He's doing entrepreneur again. So, he ends up selling red corn. Think about it. Canned corn. How much corn could red corn shuck? If red corn could shuck corn. How much red corn can red corn can? Corn.
Okay, so he says he's done 4 episodes, and I'd guess the entire series is already finished and ready to go, so if I'm not mistaken, there's 10 episodes in the series, so that would mean John Redcorn is in less than half of the episodes. And another thing he says is John Redcorn now sells red corn. I don't know if he's like joking here or if he's being serious, but that would make total sense. And another thing that was confirmed at the ATX was that Johnny Hardwick, the voice of Dale who passed away in 2023, recorded 6 episodes of the reboot. And it's also confirmed that Dale's new voice will be Toby Huss. Now, Toby Huss voicing Dale has been rumored for a while now, but now we can say it's 100% confirmed. Toby Huss, for those who don't know, was the voice of Cotton Hill and Khan in the original. Now, I think it's awesome that they're keeping Dale in the show because honestly, it's not King of the Hill without Dale, and I truly believe that Toby Huss is going to do a great job. Huss is quoted by Variety saying, "I'm not trying to copy Johnny, I'm trying to be Johnny." And I am extremely excited to see how much of Johnny that he can really be. Alright, but as of right now, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's like 3 a.m. right now while I'm recording, and I am so tired, so if I sound terrible, I am so sorry. I just had to talk about it. I mean, I don't know anybody in my real life that gives a crap about any of this, so I gotta get my excitement out somewhere. I'm currently working on my next King of the Hill video, and spoiler alert, it's about Peggy. So make sure you subscribe and don't miss that next video. And everything that I missed about the new reboot, please let me know. I did most of this research while I was at work earlier, so I definitely might have missed a few things. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. That's going to do it for me. Until next time, peace. Something tragic happened while I was finishing up this video, and I felt it was only right that I show some respect. As of recording this, yesterday, June 1st, 2025, we say goodbye to Jonathan Joss. It's so unfortunate and sad that his life had to end this way. The man was definitely fighting his demons, and I hope he's at peace now. Thank you for bringing so much joy to all of us, and may you rest in peace.
You know, comedy is hard because you got to be funny.
Comedy is very hard.
And we all are funny every day because that's the only way you can forget things.
Yeah.
My brother once told me, he said, you'll never have anything in life because you do it to spite people. I lost my brother.
Yeah.
And it's not to spite people, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I got drug problems, I got alcohol problems, I love problems, fat, high cholesterol.
Sure.
I'm just a passionate fucker, man.
Yeah.
That